Not only is wild lettuce an incredible wild green, but also it's prized among herbalists as an incredible natural sleep aid and pain reliever. However, there are several other common lookalikes that grow near it around the same time. In this video, we're going to learn how to positively identify wild lettuce and distinguish it from common lookalikes. Hey everyone, my name is Jesse. I am a forager. I make videos on wild food and herbs, how to incorporate them into your life, and identify them so that you can forage without fear. Today we are talking about wild lettuce, which is one of my all-time favorite herbs. If you told me that you can only forage for 12 things in a whole year, this would absolutely make the cut. Wild lettuce species can be found all over the world, so this is a plant that we can all benefit from. For some idea about timing, all the filming for this video was done in North Alabama at the beginning of June. We're going to talk about uses and preparation in a separate video. Right now, we need to positively identify it. In order to do that, first we're going to take a look at the characteristics of wild lettuce, and then we're going to hone in on a couple of key specific details to help us distinguish it from close lookalikes. Let's get started. Because wild lettuce has many different common names, to avoid confusion, in this video I'm going to be using its scientific name. Both wild and cultivated lettuce species fall under the genus Lactuca. While there are many different species of Lactuca around the world, in my area of North Alabama we tend to find two. That would be Lactuca serriola and Lactuca canadensis. Lactuca serriola, which is closely related to the better-known Lactuca virosa, is the one that is commonly associated with the medicinal benefits that we mentioned earlier, which we are going to go through in a future separate video. Though wild lettuce can sometimes be found growing as a basal rosette, in the wild I almost always find it growing with a large central stalk, which can grow very high, and I often find it towering above my head. From the bottom all the way to the top, you'll find the leaves growing in an alternate pattern. Further, if you look at the base of the leaf, you'll see that it's clasping to the stalk, so it's wrapping slightly around. One of the most visually striking characteristics of wild lettuce is that when you cut or rupture the leaves or the stems, it exudes a white, milky latex. However, it's important to note that this is not a distinguishing characteristic of wild lettuce, as many of its lookalikes also have this characteristic. In my opinion, the most important characteristic to distinguish wild lettuce from its close lookalikes can be found on the underside of each leaf along the midrib. If you see the presence of trichomes or hairs, then you are likely looking at a species of wild lettuce. This is distinctly prominent in species like Lactuca serriola. However, in others, such as Lactuca canadensis, it can be a little bit harder to find, especially in younger leaves, and sometimes even in older ones. They'll be very sparse. They might not be on every single leaf, but in the whole plant, they will be on some. So now that we know what details to look for in Lactuca species, let's take a look at its lookalikes to figure out how to distinguish them. Early on in my foraging journey, I often had difficulty distinguishing dandelion from wild lettuce. This is of course because they both have runcinate leaves. Runcinate is just a botanical term for the classic dandelion leaf shape. One distinct difference is the growing pattern. Dandelion is almost always going to be found growing in a basal rosette, whereas wild lettuce, as we learned before, is going to be found with a long central stalk. Further, if we take a look at the underside of dandelion leaves, we will find that there are no hairs along the midrib, whereas, as we learned before, with wild lettuce species, they will be present. So this is an easy way to distinguish the two. The next one is Sow Thistle, which is in the Sonchus genus. It has prickly leaf margins, which very much resembles Lactuca serriola. It has slightly runcinate leaves. It grows in a long stalk, and it exudes a white latex when it is ruptured. However, as we did before with dandelion, if we take a look at the midrib, once again, we will not find any hairs, and this is how we can distinguish it from wild lettuce. I think you're starting to see a pattern emerge here. And one final detail would be, even though both their flowers are very similar, Sow Thistle is going to be blooming far before wild lettuce does. Finally, let's take a look at another thistle, Musk Thistle, Carduus nutans. Now, in this case, we can see that the plant is far more spiky than wild lettuce, so we likely wouldn't confuse this one. However, if we were going to and we wanted to find a definitive way to tell the difference, What can we do? You guessed it, if we look along the midrib, the musk thistle is not going to have hairs, whereas the wild lettuce will. Of course, there are some other lookalikes for wild lettuce depending on your area, but overall, we've learned the characteristics and the details that distinguish it. Comment if you have a detail that you use that I missed so that other people can learn too.